What's going on, everybody? We're back. Your favorite neighborhood homies here to do another daggone comic preview for you. So, we're actually going to preview the comics that are dropping on Wednesday of this week for you guys. I wanted to give a big shout out to my LCS. I talked about him on the last show that we were on. And again, Ren and I kind of do things just a little bit differently. He is strictly online, he gets everything from a designated location online. So he tends to get his comics a little bit later than I do. I physically walk into a store, purchase my comics, and then walk out the store, walk out the door with them. So with that being said, man, big shout out to my LCS, Atomic Comics in Hampton. Scott, man, does a great job with his presentation, man. Always tries to look out for me. He calls me the variant king because I always tend to show him stuff that he had no idea was out. And then between the two of us, we find out whether or not it's something that he could have actually bought or if it's something that's kind of exclusive to a specific shop. So big shout out to Atomic Comics, man. If you guys are ever in the 757, swing in and holler at your boy Scott, man. He's a good dude, really good dude, man. Takes care of me. So, and Ren, I don't know if you want to give a shameless plug on your end, but I know that you searched long and hard for a very reliable individual in order to be able to get you your comics, man. And you finally found one. And I mean, your stress level has come way down ever since then.
It's funny because my guy, ironically, his name is Scott online. For Imagine That comic. So the reason why I go online is because for my personality type, it was a real stressor going into store from store to store to store to store, looking for like as flawless a possible copy that I can get. And he knows I'd go to one place, I'd go through every stack of, let's say, Batman, for example, and I would go through every stack and I'm like fine tuning everything. Like, does it have a crease here? Is it a nick here? Is it a bend here? So that became exhausting and expensive with travel time and gasoline. So I found Scott on eBay. He hooked it up. He's always been great for me. If I have an issue, he'll rectify it really quickly. It's never a problem. So it just became an easier process for me and my personality type and my time to just order it straight from him. He knows what I want. I don't have to go through the whole searching of the stack. So shout out to Scott online. And if you really want to know, DM me.
That's what's up. So this week, man, was really a short week, man, for like the both of us. I know we were texting back and forth earlier today, and it was like, man, light week this week, but what'd you say? Next week's gonna be a kick in the nuts. It's a
gonna
big
be
week
bad
next week. So
yeah, it'll be fun though. It'll be fun.
We'll get into that on the next show, man. But for this one, man, the three comics that we're actually going to sit down and talk about with you guys are three comics that all that you and I both are actually reading. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of makes it a little bit easier in regards to the conversation. But we're looking at Batman vs. Robin. It's the final issue. It's number 5. We're going to look at Detective Comics 1069. And then lastly, the Riddler Year 1, number 3. I think we're coming up on the end of that series as well, because that was a mini series that was going on. So without further ado, the first one that we're going to talk about is going to be Batman vs. Robin. This one has been one of those ones, man, where, we were both reading the Robin standalone comic. And this kind of followed Damian into it, ended his comic and slid right into a battle with his pops. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The writing on, and you and I have both said this to each other, so we might as well tell everybody else. The writing on this series, man, has just been, it's been dope, man. I mean, the artwork is good. It's been a good story too, on top of it all, man. I mean, Mark Waid has done a phenomenal job. They've had a number of different artists that have actually come through to actually do the interior work with it. But Waid has done, he's like creeping up, man. For me, he's like one of those dudes. It's like Joshua Williamson almost now for me, where I'm more likely to give them a benefit of the doubt if they're dropping something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I've enjoyed the story that they've had beforehand. But this one actually picks up after the disaster that was the Lazarus Planet event. I mean, it's just a complete total waste of time, man. I'm not gonna rehash that. That was on the last episode. If y'all want to watch that one, you know what I'm saying. But I'm curious to see how they finish up and tie up the loose ends. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been over a month since the last issue dropped for this one. Um, Everything in regards to the one shots for the Lazarus Planet had nothing to do with the main storyline other than, oh shit, the volcano blew up. It's raining down Lazarus Pit juice on everybody. And now you got people that are, they're getting their superpowers and all this other kind of stuff. And the whole time, man, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, yo, at the end of the last issue, like, Robin's holding his pops, man. You know what I'm saying? Damien's holding Bruce. And I waited a month to find out. So I hope this puts a nice bow on the story itself, man, because I've really enjoyed the way that Wade actually put this story together.
Well, hold on. So the last one that I read, because I'm probably behind you in terms of reading because I'm just out of sorts. So Batman gets jacked up.
Correct.
Right. So he's fighting his son. And he's letting him win on purpose. So I guess like moms can come in and help a little bit or whatever the case is.
He didn't want to put hands on Damien. Damien's already a loose cannon as it is. Right now, I can say to date, he's probably my favorite version of Robin. He's got an attitude problem.
Yeah, no question. No question. Because I dig his whole like, I'm going to knock you out if you keep running your mouth. Or better yet, you don't have to run your mouth. Like, you're just in the way and you got to go. Everyone else, Jason Todd, when he became Red Hood was a little off the hinges. Right. But all the Robins before that were just very, like, I don't know, Boy Scoutish to me. Cartoony, the funny color suits. It never, it was just extra. I think Damien needs to get rid of that bright suit. Like, I think he's due for, like, a dark suit. Not quite like Nightwing and not quite like Batman, but I think he needs a darker version of the representation of Robin going forward. So he's definitely my favorite. And I honestly think he's probably going to be the best version of Batman when he takes over that mantle because, times are getting crazy and then Bruce is getting older and cats are just getting a little wilder. So I think he's going to be the one to put the mash on these criminals. So I'm looking forward to Damien's transition. But in that story, like he's fighting his pops. He deserves a beating from father to like, kid, you deserve a beating. Don't put your hands on your peoples. And then like they try to put him in the pit or whatever the case is. There wasn't enough juice. And then it's the end of the comic almost. And it's like, oh, it has to, the conclusion is in the Lazarus, blase, blah, 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 which you kind of told me not to buy it. But listen, I can't read the story and the joint's like to be continued in this and I don't know. So now I order it. Matter of fact, I think it just came in yesterday. So I'm going to read it. So hopefully it ties in something, but the way that you're looking on your face is probably not going to help me out at all.
Here's what I'll say about it, man. I don't ever want to take away from a writer. You know what I'm saying? I know this sounds kind of crazy, but DC comes to you and says, tell a story. This is the background of what's going on. Here's your character. Give me an independent story within what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so that's kind of what the one shots have been. It's been an anthology, if you would, where you got a bunch of different stories in a single one shot book. And the only two true blue tie-ins with something that was an ongoing is there's one issue of the Monkey Prince, if I'm not mistaken, and one issue of Wonder Woman, neither of which I purchased. After the debacle that was the first one, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying any of these. You know what I'm saying? So there are a couple of decent stories in there. Not going to sit there and lie to you, but what exactly do they plan on doing with it after all of this clears up? You know what I'm saying? And the hell happened to Batman and Damien during this entire process? So every single story kind of is working on the same timeline, if you would. So it just tells you that, okay, this is what's happening here, and this is what's happening here, and this is what's going on with this hero, and this is what's going on with this hero. And I mean, it does tie into the story because the volcano erupted, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time and in the same breath, it's like, what is this ultimately going to do for this specific issue of Batman versus Robin? And it may tie together. I'm not gonna lie to you. It could. Am I seeing that happening? No, probably not. They probably could have just ended this a month ago and then
Mhm.
moved on to something else. The concern that I have right now is there going to be a ongoing Damian Wayne story, independent of everything else? Because the Robin joint was dope because he just showed up on Lazarus Island like, yo, I heard y'all trying to figure out who the best fighter in the world is. Well, I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
To kick
And that
everybody's
whole
ass.
exactly.
That dude
You
was
know what I'm
shocked that
saying?
he was
So
like, yo, I didn't win that. That's crazy.
right, and then died the first day, you know what I'm saying? Lost one of his lives. But it the way that they did that story, and then it just immediately the ending of that series rolled right into Batman versus Robin. So now the question that I have is now that you have this done, what's next for Damian Wayne? I don't want to see him in a companion piece, if you would,
Mhm.
with Batman. I've enjoyed him being on his own as far as
Yeah,
carrying an actual title is concerned. So
I agree with you. I dig it. Like I said, I'm ready for that darker side of the Wayne family.
he got the rawness from Ra's al
Grandpops.
Ghul and
Yeah.
Talia, you know what I'm saying? And then he got the detective side of things from his pops, you know what I'm saying? But he is the best iteration at this point in time of Robin, in my opinion, because he's that darker side trying to not be as dark as he could possibly be. And so he
Nah,
kind of has like
unleash
an
it.
internal struggle, you know what I'm saying? But dude,
Unleash
his
it.
mouth is great, and the way that he approaches it, the bravado that he has, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. I'm a fan of, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
I hope
come
that
and get it
they
if you want it.
continue. Right. I hope they continue on with a Damien story because I think at this point in time he's got enough of a following where I think it would do well. So the next book that we're actually going to get into, it's another one, man. You know, Rom V. I got turned on to him with the Layla Starr series,
Yeah, I didn't read that one.
and everybody said that what he did in Swamp Thing was phenomenal. Like it's
Yeah.
the best Swamp Thing in years and everything like that. And I've read some of his other stories, man, and I like the way that he has an idea in mind of what he wants a story to be, and he takes his time telling it. And I think that's what you're starting to see in Detective Comics. At first, man, when I heard that he was taking over, I was like, yeah, I like that. You know what I'm saying? Rom V on Batman. They just
Yeah,
need
we'll
to
take it.
allow him to tell the story. You know what I'm saying? And at first, when I started reading it, I was just like, I don't know what dude's doing. And then
Right.
these last two issues have really started to, okay, that's where you're going with it. There's Bruce Wayne's broke. Somebody else comes in town. They got some supernatural stuff to go along with them. Bruce is now fighting these cats. Yeah, yeah. And then on top of all of that, the deep, dark presence, if you would, that is Gotham is like that character that's trying to pull Bruce. So it's been really good, man. Like I said, it started off slow, but now that he's kind of gotten into that groove in regards to telling the story, man, like it's starting to pick up, and the artwork's been it's been solid. I've enjoyed, you know what I'm saying. They've had a couple of different people on the actual interior as well, you know what I'm saying. Um, but I've enjoyed where it's going, and I'm kind of interested to see one. I'm not sure how long he's going to be on the book, but I'm kind of interested to see how he's going to tie up loose ends with this new family that kind of came in town, and they're trying to reclaim Gotham. It's ours now. You had your time.
Mm-hmm.
You're old Bruce. We got this from here. Yeah, what you tell us exactly what you did so that we could do the opposite because you messed up
Y'all
Gotham
jacked
and
it
we're
up,
trying to
right?
fix it. Right, exactly. So
How many cities do you know, real or in comics, that has like damn near a personality? Yo? Like when you say Gotham, it's it's a dark presence there. Like I'm almost like, is there ever any sunshine? It just has to constantly be raining. thunderstorms, typhoons, like just bums in the street in the park. They're like, I never feel like Gotham is like this happy place that I would like to go visit if I was a comic book character. Hell, as a human, like a regular person, I don't want to go to Gotham. It sounds like a scary place. You say Metropolis, people are like, yeah, whatever. Superman's there, no big deal. Central City,
Sun's
yeah, it's a
always out.
fast guy. Yeah, but Gotham, you're like, oh snap! Like, we got to drive through there. We go. What's the outskirts?
You said it'll take me 3 hours if I go the other way. Okay,
Yeah.
route that. I think that if you actually look back through our earliest memories of not the West Batman, and you know what I'm saying, like the campy bang pow, not that version of it, but when you actually really start to look into the cartoons that came out in the late 80s, early 90s, darker theme. Batman's always in the dark, of course. Bruce Wayne is always in the light. You know what I'm saying? And then what really kind of like turned Gotham to me into a character, it was the Michael Keaton and Tim Burton Batman movie. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? I mean, that right there, Gotham turned into a character
entity
at that point for me. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy where, we talk about in the comic, and then you look at the most recent movie that came out, and that low hum of music playing in the background throughout the entirety of the film, and it's always raining, and it's just dreary and just who the hell wants to live in Gotham? You know what I'm saying?
That was the next thing I was getting ready to say. Like, if I had loot, I'd be on a beach house somewhere else, yo. Like, who's in there and why are you still there? And thank God Batman's there to help you, because I'm not visiting that place. Not voluntarily.
And it's crazy because if you literally, and I mean, we've had the conversation in regards to how we view comics, you know what I'm saying? What we're into, what we're really digging these days and stuff like that. And, we made it known superheroes really aren't the only thing you read and necessarily even really just solely enjoy, if you would. And there's not a single superhero out there that even wants to. Oh, you said Batman needs some help? You go. Yeah, I ain't going. Yeah. So, and it, I mean, and that is the lore, if you would, of what Gotham actually is. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It is, like you said, it's its own entity in and of itself, and it's always been that way. And the way that Ram V's actually writing this particular story, it takes on, like, he's fully engulfed that with the way that he's actually writing it, because he understands that you have to write Gotham as a character in your story. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's done a good job with it, man. Like I said, I could be a little biased because I am a big fan of his. But I like the way that he is, and the different covers that they've had, man. The whole opera type theme and everything like that. And it's just been, Ivan Rice has done a lot of the actual artwork for like the main covers and stuff like that. And it's just, he understands the idea and the mentality of the writer. Yeah. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That goes along with it.
I like the opera covers, man. Those are the ones I've been getting.
Yeah. I've kind of mixed it up. I've gotten a couple of the opera ones. I've kind of gotten some, and you know me, man, like I'm an art guy. So if I see a piece of art on the cover and I'm like, that's dope,
it's got
the cover I'm gonna go with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So speaking of the Gotham actually being a entity in and of itself, man, this Riddler Year One story,
the cover's dope,
picks up the same tone, the same feeling, the same, just, it literally is the story of the Riddler leading up to the movie itself and his first interactions with Batman, and like that whole, like before he even became the Riddler and stuff like that. And the interesting part about this, man, is that this is not actually like a comic writer, you know what I'm saying? Like the dude that actually played the Riddler in the movie, Paul Dano, was the one that's actually doing the writing for this particular thing. So who knows the Riddler better than the guy that had to put, him on film? I mean, it's just
Right.
so, and we've talked before in regards to the type of artwork fitting the story. If you just were to open up this book and just look inside of it and look at the actual artwork, you go,
Yeah. It's
maybe,
not.
you know what I'm saying? But it fits the tone, if you would, of what they're actually putting down um, on paper. So it's been a solid read. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I picked it up. Could I probably have waited until the trade came out to collect them all at one time? Probably would have read better that way. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
um, for him never to have done a comic before, I think he's doing a good job with the writing on it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I agree with you on the artwork. It's nothing to brag home or rush to the store to get.
Right.
It's like a year one type of deal. Like, you're getting the origin story. You kind of seeing behind the scenes how he became who he became. The Riddler's always been my favorite Batman villain because he's very cerebral. Obviously, if he's going to be telling clever jokes and, for lack of a better word, riddles. Like I dig that. Like I dig the fact that he's just really smart. And then the way they brought him to life on this new Batman movie, he's smart, but he's not like that goofy kind of smart. Like you could tell he plots and he researches. And I don't know what when we were growing up, how we figured he was that intelligent with that bright green suit on, but you can just tell this dude, he's gone through some stuff and he's working it out in such an intricate way that it it makes you think about what his next moves are. And it's almost like he's playing chess, like he's seeing moves way ahead. So this storyline is, it's not exciting, but it's not like dull either. Like you're seeing him at work, you're seeing him try to like he's trying to be a decent individual, but then stuff is popping up and at some point I'm sure he's gonna snap and then we're gonna get the dude who's running through your windows and hitting you with a whatever he hit you with a hammer. Whatever what did he kill that dude with in the opening scene of that?
It was the what was it? The joints that you actually pick up like carpet and hardwood floors and stuff with.
Yeah, like
he,
yeah,
he got
I'm
him, man,
curious to
like
see
a
when he
like a
gets to
claw
that point.
hammer.
Yeah, like
And
he's not
and
there
that's
yet,
the
but
thing. When you have an origin story for a specific character, especially one that is as well known as the Riddler itself, I mean, the story is pretty much, going to be the same, but the way that you can build up a story and tell the story the same way, but completely and totally different from any way that it's been told before, I think that they've done like I said, I think he's done a good job of taking a character that he already has a connection with because he played him
hmm
and actually like putting it down on paper to show you, like you said, at what point does a person actually physically snap? You know what I'm saying? And that switch happens where they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And the build up, like you said, it's not anything cool. He's in his office. Oh, look, he's walking along on the street. But like
hmm
at the same time, you're also thinking in the back of your head, man, like at any point in time, man, this dude can become one of the most diabolical individuals
boy
running through
gonna
the streets of
lose it.
Gotham.
He's gonna snap. It's like the Killing Joke. I always thought the Killing Joke
Right.
was an ill story. Like I kind of believe that to be the truth. Everybody's a good person until they get to their breaking point. And then we test your morality and your value system. How desperate are you when the chips fall? Like, what are you gonna do?
Different storylines that you have, man. Like, when Nick and I took the trip up to DC, just sort of talking, he asked me, he's like, Dad, what's your favorite like event story? And I've always been a Flashpoint paradox.
It's
Like,
good.
I've always loved that whole that storyline. You know what I'm saying? And but I told him, I was like, one of the good ones was the Killing Joke. But just kind of seeing like that progression of that villain, you know what I'm saying, where they've turned from what they were into what they are. But then I told him, I was like, there's actually an animated one, and I can't remember for the life of me which one it was, but it was the one where um one of the villains got their hands on Batman's backup plan. where he had the weakness for every single one of the members of the Justice League. It might have been Doom or something like that. But he, like, those plans got stolen, and then all of a sudden the Justice League is like, yo, what do you mean you had like a backup plan? Like, now all of a sudden they're all looking at him like, you're this close to being the supervillain, you know what I'm saying? And no one had to get rid of every single one of us inside of the Justice League at that same time. And that
F
just goes
that.
into
He's
his
super
mindset, you know what I'm
brilliant though.
saying?
Like, yo, I don't have any powers. We got one boy talking to fish. We got another dude flying into the cosmos. Our other cat can shape change into anything he wants. I'm a regular old dude from Gotham. So yeah, I need a backup plan in case you jokers start tripping.
My superpower is my wallet.
Yeah, I'm rich and I'm brilliant and I'll figure it out. Yeah, boy had like kryptonite rings and listen, Batman is my boy. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy because we're sitting here and we're talking about it's a short week for us as far as like what our pulls are and everything like that, and we're talking about Batman versus Robin,
Yeah,
Detective Comics, and the Riddler, and then it. I'm like you, man. I'm a big Batman fan, and I just the way that he processes things, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, everybody's playing checkers. He out here playing 3D chess. So it's
yeah,
just
he's different, man. It's a different
he
cat.
is. He's cut from a different cloth. So the
Yeah, I
last one that we're going to
dig it.
share with you guys, this is just a. So Rennie kind of commented on it last week, man. I am somebody that I like to collect certain things, and originally when I was planning on buying this is number 5 for Batman Gotham Knights, and this is the Gilded City. This is actually a story that is loosely based off of what the game is, if you would. Well, originally I had planned on buying the game, and this was one of these comics where if you collected every single one of them, then you unlocked something inside of the game itself. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get all of them. I'm gonna get the thing for the game,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll read them in the process as well. And then I bought like the first 2, and then the game dropped, and the reviews basically said,
Sucked.
well, the thing that kind of has me going towards these specific, like I was buying very specific covers. I'm a very big Greg Capullo fan. Like, he's up there for me, man. It's
That's fair.
when it comes to when I think of Batman in a comic book, I think of the New 52 with him and Scott Snyder.
Bingo.
That is and I
Easy.
know that there have been many, many, many artists that have been on Batman before. You know what I'm saying? One of my current favorite people, Jorge, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When Jimenez is on Batman, it looks totally different than any other person. It's very, very distinct with what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And Capullo on Batman, dude, is just, well, what do the kids say, man? It hits different. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It just looks like, yeah, that's what Batman is supposed to. Oh yeah, that's what Bruce Wayne is supposed to look like. That's what
Mm-hmm.
Gotham is. It fits it, man. Like, he understands the assignment when it
Yeah,
comes to
he's
actually
dope.
drawing Batman. So, again, can't say anything about the game. Haven't played a single ounce of it. I do want to thank everybody on YouTube for saving me 60, 70 bucks and not buying it. But 5 issues in, I think one more issue in regards to the covers. So I'll grab the last Capullo cover, and who knows, maybe one day down the line, having never been opened, maybe they'll be worth something. Who knows? But yeah, now Capullo is one of those dudes, man, where like if he's on a cover, if it's something that I'm reading, I'm more likely to try and make sure that I get that specific cover, just because dude knows what he's doing, man. He
Yeah.
does. He's a dope artist. He's a dope
Yeah.
artist. But so that is going to do it for this week's preview show. These are the comics that you can actually pick up on March the 1st at your LCS. Make sure that you guys go in there, take a look around, man. Like, that's the other thing that I want to kind of stress to you guys. You never know what's waiting on a shelf for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
I know that you do have some people, man, you balling on a budget and we get it. You know what I'm saying? But on a light week like this, like I'm not gonna lie, man. Like when I go into the shop tomorrow, I'm gonna I'm gonna pick up a couple of books and I'm gonna look through them and see because there's a couple of number ones that are coming out tomorrow that kind of piqued my interest, but I kind of need to see the interior to see whether or not it would be something that I would even consider. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a moment, man, when you get into the shop, or even if you're just looking online like Ren does, like just take a peek, man, at some of these books, man, because a lot of the stuff that's flying underneath the radar is things that you would have never thought to pick up when you go into a store to begin with. So when you go into the LCS, if you're shopping online, if you're going to multiple stores, whatever you're doing, man, give some of the ones that have actually come out a shot. There's one that dropped last week that it kind of ties into the pipes that my man's got sitting back over there behind him. But the Sherlock Holmes joint, man, the Moriarty joint that dropped last week was dope. I enjoyed it. It's Sherlock Holmes versus Jekyll and Hyde. What else needs to be said? You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
And it's kind of
okay.
got this steampunk type feel to the old London times, and it was good, man. It was a solid book, and it was just one of those ones where I'd put it on my radar and I was like, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna see what it's about. I'm gonna look at the interior. I'm gonna see if the art grabs me. And the art wasn't the cleanest art, but it definitely fits that time frame, that period of time. But it was one where had I just been like, yeah, nah, I'm not buying that. It's not from one of the major dealers of comics. I
Hmm.
I could potentially miss out. So if I could tell you that there was a sleeper last week, that one that snuck up on me that I wasn't necessarily expecting, check out that Moriarty joint that dropped last week. From my man over here, his partner in crime, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, is in that
Yeah,
book
man.
itself. So it's been a while since it's been a Sherlock joint. So um, with that being said, man, that is this week's comic preview. As always, like we tell y'all, thank y'all for joining us, man. Let us know what we can do better next time. But seriously, man, in the comics, let us know what you guys are actually reading, man. Tell us what we should be reading. If it's not something that we discussed, let us know, man. Maybe it'll be something that we pick up. As always, like the channel, subscribe to the channel so that you know when we put out our content. And Rennie, hit me with our socials, if you would, good sir.
Like I said before, and I'll say it over and over and over again: Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, the Homie Trinity Podcast. And go ahead and add the @ symbol before all that so you can find us for sure. Stop playing games. Hit the button.
Y'all know the deal, man. Thank y'all, man, for joining us, man. Hope y'all enjoyed what we're putting out. We'll be back next week with the previews for a pretty heavy week, man, for both of us.
Yes.
So we'll have a little bit more to talk about next week, including the dent that it's going to put into our wallet. So as always, man, appreciate y'all. Y'all keep on doing what y'all do. Peace.
Peace.